And as much as we're seeing a lot of division in terms of tone, it seems that there's not a lot of substance necessarily to the differences between the two candidates on this. Julian, are you with us?
I am, and that's exactly right. When you sort of drill down on some of these issues like Iran, Syria, even Afghanistan, the differences between the two candidates' former policy positions is very slight.
Right, and so what are we left with? A kind of accusations of the other being too soft and too strong? How does it play out?
That's right. I mean, you have a situation where you have Mr. Romney saying that Obama's foreign policy is weak and saying that he's not aggressive enough in Syria or Iran. And you have the Obama side saying that there's a recklessness with Mr. Romney. But on Iran, they're very close in what they would do. In Syria, they basically support the same thing, providing arms to the rebels but not having a U.S. military role. On Afghanistan, both candidates support a withdrawal of 2014, but you see Romney hitting the Obama administration over their handling of Iraq and the drawdown there and not listening to commanders. So you have this to and fro attacking, which is a stylistic difference, and that could be important. But it masks a very slight difference.
Let's just take a look there, Julian. We've got up on the screen now a bit of a list of some of the topics that we have. America's role in the world. You've gone through some of these, of course. War in Afghanistan, these divisions over Israel and Iran, the Middle Eastern term. Some of those seem to sort of fall under one category, in my opinion. The rise of China as well. I'm interested because there's so much focus in the Middle East, and this is traditionally the case. But the IMF came out just a week or so ago and said that the world was at the risk, a highly alarming risk it faced, it said, of a global recession. Is this the sort of stuff that can come up in this debate, or is it very much to do with security? I mean, why is global economic issues and how they might play out not necessarily a part of this?
Well, we know that both candidates would love to pivot from the foreign policy to the economy. They know that that's foremost on the minds of the voters. And so they'll be looking for questions that allow an opening to talk about the European economic crisis, because it could talk about jobs in America. Mm-hmm. Now, we have a list of the debate topics. They could change. We know that China and trade with China is supposed to be one of the topics, and that is going to be probably the easiest way to sort of segue into a jobs debate.
And there's one particular division on China that sounds interesting. They both want to talk as tough as they can about that country and what they believe is its unfair trade practices. But Romney says he's going to label China a currency manipulator on day one, which is something that people think might even trigger a trade war. Do you think that could come up and how, it's a pretty bold claim from Romney. Do you think that in any way he might be vulnerable on that?
The Obama people think that they might be able to pivot that against him. You saw some tough language from the campaign in the days leading up to this. They're saying, labeling China a currency manipulator is going to invite a trade war, and that's going to cost jobs. Now, but the Obama people have also been sort of tough on China in their own right, for most of the term kind of doing quiet negotiations behind the scene, but then in the last few months, a series of high-profile complaints with the WTO. So, it's not like we're going to see, I think, in the rhetoric, a sharp difference. Both people are going to be tough on China, but in their own way. And of course, this has Chinese officials scratching their heads. They thought they had been making progress on these issues.
Right. Well, it is an election year after all. Julian, thank you very much for that.